I'm Jacqui Holmes. I am one of the 2 alternative education teachers at Kennebunk High School. And we, I guess, are the team that's been working on implementing our pilot at Kennebunk High School.
Yep, my name's Sharood. I'm the other alt-ed teacher at Kennebunk High School. You've been there how long?
This is my 8th year.
Yeah, this is my 18th year. Yeah, so I'm gonna kind of go backwards, I think. So for teachers, us being primary teachers, what a journey it has been. What I feel like it's done is kind of legitimized the work that we do. It's made us do additional work that we just hadn't, been collecting data, and we hadn't really formalized a lot of the work that we do. And so this process has allowed us to do that, and it's been really rewarding in seeing, and hearing from others that what we think we're doing that's good work is actually amazing work. And so that's been really special. I think for the students, gosh, it's really transformed the program in terms of getting the vehicles that we purchased and being able to use them to get students to and from apprenticeships and to job shadows and here to the trust. Because there's 2 vehicles, we can split the group, which we do anyway when we're here. And so it's really opened up a lot of opportunities, both in the community as well as outside of the community and beyond, just to stretch to be able to see community colleges and get up to Portland and even down as far as Portsmouth. So that's been helpful. In terms of staffing, which was another big undertaking that we looked at, it's that piece was a little harder. The staff members that we hired, hoping that we would be able to build the program a little bit, just weren't a really good fit for the program. And so that in and of itself helped us kind of reform our process for how we're going to look for the staff in the future. The kids really wanted to be a part of that. They want to have a voice, and so we're going to create a form in which they can be a part of the interviews, and we're going to have the next applicant come and spend a day, similar to the application process for a new student. New students have to come in and shadow and interview and do a whole application. So that's a couple things.
Yeah, that was good. Yeah, validating, I think, is the word that I would use. This whole process has been really validating. I also think that I think it's changed the students' lives. I think for some of them it's changed, I think they may articulate this too, but it's changed kind of the trajectory of their life a little bit. What they thought that they could do, they're realizing that there are a lot of other things, a lot of other opportunities, a lot of possibilities that they hadn't even thought of before. And REV's support with that and what we've been able to purchase to build the program that was existing, but to really build it up to something that's pretty extraordinary and special has opened up so many doors for them. So that's been really fun to watch happen. I also think that Ed mentioned it first of the validating piece of collecting all the data, the things that we were required to do to receive the REV funding and then to continue to kind of monitor how it was going, has encouraged us to share our story a little bit more. And so we've been able to present at a couple of conferences now. We presented at the school board. We are trying to tell the story and share the ideas, not just with our school system and our district, but also districts around the country, because we do think that we have something that works and can be replicated in tons of different places, even without $250,000.
I think the word is out. We were asked to present at the State of Maine that annual alt-ed conference. The president and director had seen us in our presentation down in Tampa when we went to the national Alted conference and presented. So I think that, yeah. And the feedback was amazing, right? Like the work that we're doing with project-based learning, student-driven, is just, it's amazing. It's I believe the way of the future. Yeah, for sure. In education, or one pathway. I think Kennebunk High School does a really good job at operating and offering multiple pathways to graduation. And so that's really important. We're one piece of that, but I think that piece is growing. Yeah.
And hopefully, even if the program doesn't get huge, because initially that was the pilot, was to expand the program, and I don't honestly know if the district is totally ready for that, even though we know that there's a need. But there has been conversation about how can we kind of package the things that are working really well and share those with other teachers and other classrooms in the district, because we think that everyone could benefit from them. The students could 100% benefit from them if they work for our students. Like, we're sure they could work for all students. So I think that's been a really positive thing that's come out of this, and hopefully will continue to come out of this work. We've been working together obviously for a while. It's been us for a while, but I think this process, and I guess before too, but really during this process, we have reached out to a lot of people. We say all the time that it takes a village, and we believe that very, very strongly. Like, even having you met Elizabeth, we've been working with the social workers at the school way more than we ever have been, and that has just made such a difference. All the community partners has just made such a difference. So yeah, I would say, like, lean on the resources in the community that are there, that want to help, that want to get involved with the students. It makes a huge difference.
Yeah, and the only piece I would add to that is understand how your vision aligns with the district's vision, and make sure that you can tweak it so that you're in alignment. And I would also add, celebrate, right? Like, celebrate what you do, and celebrate that work with your community partners, celebrate that work with the school board, celebrate that work with administration, superintendent, assistant superintendent, have them come visit the program, have them introduce them to the kids. I think that really helps.
Yeah, we're used to being so humble and, like, not talking about all the things that are happening. Like, it's just not in our nature, I think. And so this has really pushed us to be like, no, like, yeah, the kids deserve that. The work that they do deserves that. So, yeah.
Every Monday at 7:45, you can bring the Marty Mobile.
AM or PM?
AM. Let's start with AM.
All right.
Down.
Cool.
Huh? You're gonna put a system in it so we can
we get the
line them up.
First.
We can compare systems.
Okay.
Right? We can have some fun.
Is this drag racing?
We could do a little tour.
Okay.
No. I think it's sharing the story. I think that's the biggest piece. You guys are doing amazing work at the state level, and it's sharing the story, getting it out, making sure Engine is up and running, and that access is available for all the educators, and that they're aware of that, right? Like, that they know there's a resource here that's amazing, that showcases all the great work that all the schools have done as a part of the RREV program over the last 3 years. I think that would be really beneficial. And maybe partner with, the Alted Association a little bit. I think we'd love to see that. Yeah. Share the story.
And I think keep pushing us to go see other programs, and to use Engine to look at all the different pilots, because we do need that push. It's so easy. There's so many things going on every day, that to get all of those things done, sometimes you get so in your space and you're creating all these things that have already been created elsewhere. So it's been really helpful to have those pushes to say what good work is happening elsewhere, and how can we learn from that and grow from that. And then I'll give my shout out to Mercedes. So
Yeah.
our coach, Mercedes she has just changed so much for us. She's been the most genuinely supportive person that we have, that I have had in my professional career. And we've only met with her once a month or once every other week for a while.
For a while.
So continuing to support those partnerships and having that as a resource is just, that would be so helpful. She's been so amazing.
Yep.
An objective perspective, someone who's not in the district, who gets it. It's just been really helpful.
Yeah.
She came out here last week and met with the students and gave them some life lessons. It was awesome. They love her. She brings cookies, so they love her.
Nice.
Yeah.
There we go.
Yep.
Yeah.
She sets the bar high.
Yeah.
That's good.
Food is a great motivator.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Objective perspective. That's
I-
going to be the
I
theme
love
of
that.
our. Yeah, I like that.
Ed and I talk about this sometimes. We're really different people who get along very well.
Yeah.
One of the things I will say before I talk about high school experience is everybody we talk to, every community partner, literally anyone, always says, wow, I wish I had a program like this when I was in high school. Parents, we hear it daily, all the time. So, yes, I don't think, at my high school it did not exist. So.
Nothing.
I grew up in Massachusetts, but this did not exist.
How about you, Ellen?
Yeah, I actually went to Kennebunk High School, so I can say that
Okay.
this program definitely did not exist. No, it was. I think the version of this was called the rubber room, and it was a little room down in the basement with no windows, and that's just where students that were not doing what they needed to be were sent to, have one-on-one attention. So yeah, nothing like that kind of existed. And over the last 18 years, it's been very different through administration changes and what the need is for the school. It's shifted from credit recovery to somewhat project-based learning, back to credit recovery, and then for probably the last 8 or 9 years, true alternative education. Experiential learning out in the field, project-based. So we're hoping that spreads and continues. Yeah.
I would love to see the program exist as it is now, or, obviously there are always changes depending on who the students are. They shift the program a lot, but I would love to see some of the ideas, the concepts that really work for our population in the general population. One of the things that we're seeing at Kennebunk High School, and I don't know if this is true for other places, but a lot of the students who were banking on going to a vocational program, we send primarily to Sanford Regional Technical Center, which is an unbelievable facility. That program has gotten extremely competitive. So the students that were banking on that because they needed that hands-on experiential learning, they're not getting into those programs, and so then they're stuck. So we have this large group of students who could really benefit from that programming. There isn't enough space. There isn't enough space in our program, and so they're just stuck back in the mainstream setting. And we really believe that there are so many things that we do that could be spread to help that population of students. They don't have to be with us all day. We do think that there's a group of students that also need to be with two people all day. But it would be amazing if that could happen. It could spread in that way.
Yeah, I would just add, not only at the high school level, but I think throughout the district, there's a way to integrate project-based learning and experiential learning. Some teachers, do it, but I would love to see, central office and administration from the top down get on board with, pushing that out a little bit harder to have either, once a quarter or once, a semester, some sort of field day or
Service learning
day. used to do that a long time ago. There was a whole week where the whole district would stop, and there was like a week-long fair among all the schools, and the high schoolers would go to the junior high would come to the high schoolers would go to the elementary school and help, with different foreign languages, and it was amazing. And then there was a field day portion that was like almost like a mini Olympics. Yeah, would love to see something like that. Beyond that, I think for our program, I'd love to see our program, continue either utilizing this space or, undergo some capital campaign fund to have a new facility built that has all of the aspects that we need, maybe under the RSU roof, so we're not out, with the trust. But not that that's a bad thing. We love being out here, but it has its challenges. Yeah, I think that's 5 years. Yeah, without being able to, pinpoint one thing, I would have to say, going through this process, it's changed the way I think about education. It's changed the way I interact with my students. It's changed the way we interact. It's had a lot of challenges, so it's pushed me. It's been great, and it's been awful.
And then when you say process, what do you mean specifically?
I mean everything that we've had to gather for putting the application in, undergoing the process and learning how and making the connections and the partnerships with different people within our district and outside of the district to make things come to fruition, seeing it right through to the end, right? Like in the next couple months, and making sure all the money's spent and everything's accounted for. So that additional load on top of what we're doing has, I'd say that's it for me.
I would say one of the things that moved me was we had a student last year. So when we started this process, she was new to us at the beginning of last year, and she really stepped up into a leadership role especially with the house and the renovation project. But in all of the steps of REV, as we got funding, as we were deciding how we were going to spend all of the little details, she was part of that process, and she transformed the culture of the program. Because we can do a lot to promote good culture and a good classroom environment, but it's a very different thing when it comes from a student. And so she really set that stage for all of her peers, and that's continued through this year, even though she's graduated. So that was moving to me. She went to cosmetology school. She's already a licensed esthetician, and she's doing really well. And so just watching her grow and come out of her shell and gain confidence, like that is moving. I think the other one that happened this year is that we have a couple of students who are going to transition out of the alt-ed program, which is relatively new for us. Usually they come in and they stay their entire time, they graduate with us, they never want to leave, they're stuck to our side, they cry, what am I going to do without you, all of that, which I thought was the goal. That's what was, that's
Totally.
But this year we've had a couple of students who have been with us for 2 years, and they have figured out what they want to do. And so they don't necessarily need the program anymore. They have purpose, they know what their pathway is, they know the resources, they know how to ask for help, they have the skills to write the emails, to make the phone calls. And so they're ready to do dual enrollment. They're ready to do Spring Ahead, or that's what it's called, the community college. They're ready to do an internship and take one mainstream class or take a college class or whatever it is and move on. And although that is hard to hear a little bit, like, okay, that is the goal. Like that's the point. And so it feels like the program's gotten to a good spot for that to happen, and that is moving. And then I think today, like the fact that our students have been willing to talk to all of you would not have happened at the beginning of this year or even a couple of years ago. So is really, it's like a proud teacher moment that they've been up for answering questions and having a lot of other pieces around. So.
I would add that, right? The transformation that we see is moving. It's unbelievable. I have yet to run into, a student post-graduation, lose track of them.
You run into them and they're like,
Yeah, it's not successful. It's not taking what they learned in our program and implementing it and driving themselves to success. Haven't met one yet that's doing worse than they were doing when they were in our program.
yeah, it's pretty cool. And they're everywhere and they come back all the time. They email all the time. It's really fun.
You changed their lives. Yeah.
And they did a lot of the work. They were willing
They
to put
do
the
the
work
work.
in,
Yeah.
so we just gave them the space to figure it out.